Happy Monday, everyone. For some people, it's a mindful Monday. For the people, it's a motivational Monday. I want you to bring both of those types of Mondays when you come to this world. That's right. It's the Janelle Villiers podcast. Woo! I'm really excited because that was my new intro. If you didn't notice, let me know in the comments if you like the new intro. I think it's really snazzy. Also, it shows the new name for the podcast, the Janelle Villiers podcast. It's just easier to make everything streamlined, right? JVP, Janelle Villiers podcast, JVP, Janelle Villiers partnerships. All the things, it all now just lines up, makes things a lot easier for people to know who I am and know what I'm all about. Because if you are here on the Janelle Villiers podcast, you know I'm all about speaking to leaders, authors, and talking about how they're sharing their stories. What is it like to be an author? How they're using their views, their ideas to help and impact people. So I'm really excited to have you with me today. If you are watching me live, go ahead and put an L in the comments. That way I know you're watching me live. If you are watching the recording, go ahead and put an R in the comments, and then I'll come back and shout you out for everybody who's watching the recording. And you know how this goes as we move forward. If you're finding value, if you're loving any of the things that we're talking about, go ahead and put a V in the comments. Let me know you're finding value. I love, love, love all of the comments. Being interactive with you guys is probably the best part. Would love to know where you're tuning in from. If you're tuning in today, let me know where in the world you are tuning in from. What state, what country, all the things, and maybe even what the temperature is like. Real-time temperature alerts. All right. So today I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about a topic that now has been coming up a lot for me as I've been talking to different folks. A lot of people are interested in publishing in November. So what does it take to publish in November? Totally enough time to do it. So I want to talk to you guys about what those steps are, how you need to think about all of this. And you know how I always do. I have some notes because I don't want to miss a thing. I want to make sure I capture all the thoughts. Okay, so first in terms of a realistic timeline that actually works, let's talk about this. So the next month, I would say the next month to 2 months, this is just you writing. You are just getting it down. Whatever's in your head, get it down on paper. This is just your rough draft. Please let go of it trying to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect, okay? You just need to get it out on paper. You know why it doesn't need to be perfect? Because your editors are going to be the ones to get it to the place that you need it to be in order to publish. But you can't edit anything if you've got nothing. So I got to make sure that you guys really understand this. Write your manuscript, okay? You need to be doing that right now. That's what you should be busy doing in this month and next month. It's the beginning of June. So you got the whole month of June, whole month of July. Get that done. Then in the third month, you're going to start to do the editing. You're going to have developmental editing, content editing, where we're really combing out the different parts of your story. Does this make sense here? Should you move this up? Should you move this down? Can you tell us a little bit more about this particular thing? It would be really helpful. Maybe a little bit less about this other thing, not so helpful, right? That's when that type of editing happens. Right around the end of the third month and all of the fourth month, that's when the copy editing or the proofreading starts to happen. The cover design is going to be there. At the end of the fourth month, beginning into the fifth month, the formatting will then begin. If you're doing beta reading also happens during the editing phase. So you're going to have your beta readers take a look at it, give you some feedbacks to try to make it better for whatever you can. So again, that's month 3 to 4. Month 4 and 5, you're really looking at formatting and then getting it uploaded to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, whatever, all the different places that you want your book to be in. And then month 5, that's when you're really looking at heavy marketing. You're probably marketing all the time, but month 5, you're doing your pre-launch or your pre-orders, all of that's happening. And then I would say just build in a 2-week buffer between all of this. So between each of these steps could take a week or even 2 weeks longer, sometimes shorter, but a lot of times longer than you anticipate. So just put those extra 2 weeks buffers in between all of those and you will get it done. You'll get it done. I have no doubt. So just stick to that strategy. I would say you want to do a couple of things simultaneously. You're going to actually start marketing pretty soon, probably as you're even wrapping up your first draft. You're going to start to put some breadcrumbs out there that you're even writing a book. Definitely going to go a little bit harder once you get into the editing phase. And then once we get into cover design and formatting, all that stuff, you'll be well on track to marketing. So marketing kind of happens throughout. So just letting you know that. Also, the cover design and editing also kind of take place around the same time. It takes about I would say 6 to 8 weeks to do full editing. So you're looking at the editing, cover design kind of happen at the same time. So just know that some things overlap. They're not necessarily completely separated like we laid out before, but I just want to give you guys an idea, right, of what the timeline can look like. All right, does this seem doable? Let me know in the comments if you're like, oh yeah, this is totally doable. I can do this. Okay. So the other thing that I would do is focus your daily energy on tasks that could delay the entire timeline. So anything that you feel like could delay the process, I would focus my energy on that. Right now, it's writing the manuscript. If you don't get the right manuscript written, none of the other things can happen afterwards. So I would say pay most attention or put most of your focused energy towards getting the manuscript out. And then anything else after that, it's the thing that's going to delay the timeline. That's the thing. That's the next thing that you should be focused on. All right. So the next thing I thought we should talk about is how to prioritize tasks when everything feels urgent. So it's kind of like looking at the things that are going to slow down the timeline. And then you're like, all right, well, I'm going to focus on that. You want to look for high impact, low effort tasks that can be done really, really quickly. I would say probably get those out of the way. This include things like book descriptions, keywords, things like that. You can just kind of see what those are and put them like in a column, like, all right, I'm going to get to these things either now or in a month from now or what have you, right? But you know that they're high impact, low effort. Then you have things that are high impact, high effort, like actually writing the manuscript. Then you actually have low impact things, and those get minimal time, right? So this is like complex interior design, things like that. Honestly, I would say get a professional, hire someone to help you with that, and focus on what readers actually notice and care about, not necessarily the things that you think that they care about. Find out. The beta readers are a really huge help for that. Highly, highly recommend that you get beta readers. If you need help with that, again, I'm your girl. I'm your key. I can help you get to all of those different aspects of getting the book out there. I can help you with that. All right. So if you list what must be completed before other tasks can begin, and then you prioritize the task that way, that's another way to look at it. So in terms of, okay, there seems like everything needs to be done all at the same time. Well, some things need to be done in order for something else to be done. So now you can prioritize that way. And then finally, the revenue impacts prioritization. Focus on the things that actually are going to directly affect sales. This includes the cover, the description of the book, the editing quality. It's those are the things, right? So if you're prioritizing the things that's going to help you actually sell the book, then yeah, I would say make those priorities, or at least make them higher on the list after you finish writing the manuscript. When you're thinking of the keywords in the description, you might want to ask yourself, does this help people find and buy my book for each item? Whether when you're looking for keywords, that's what you're thinking. Does this help people find and buy my book? The description, does this help and does this help people find and buy my book? Same thing with the cover, things like that. I think that's a really great question to ask as you're going through each one of those aspects that actually help with book sales. All right. So in terms of the other thing I want to talk about is shortcuts that save time without sacrificing the quality. If you have any templates or create any systems towards how you're doing things, that's always going to save you time, right? System stands for saving you. Oh, wow. I forgot what the other S stands for, but time, energy, and money. That's what system stands for. So you want to use, if there's a template for a book description, that's really helpful. If there's any kind of interior design template or custom layouts that you already have and you want to use, go ahead and use those. Otherwise, hire someone who can help you with that. You want to use like other successful examples. So if you see a book that you really like and you're like, oh yeah, that looks really good, totally you don't have to recreate the wheel and just you do what they did because you know that it works, right? So I think that's a great way to do it. outsourcing the framework. So essentially, what you're the worst at, just find somebody who you can pay to do the thing that you're not that good at. Again, I can help you with that. I would definitely look for people that create packages, right? So editing and formatting packages to reduce the coordination. It's all in the same place. Again, can totally help you with that. Your key. Choose providers with rush job experience, people who have actually produced books with really quick, proven, fast turnarounds. We've actually, from editing to publishing, we've gotten books out in 2 months, to be honest. They weren't long books. These weren't like novels, like, 300-page books, but it was a book around 100 pages and we got it done. So yeah, it's totally possible. I also think about the 80-20 quality focus. So identify the 20% of efforts that create the 80% of the perceived quality of the book that you're doing. So this is going to include prioritizing professional editing, right? I'm your key there, over you doing several revisions yourself without having a professional actually look at it. I would say choose high impact design elements over intricate details, especially for your cover. And yeah, those are probably the biggest things I would look for. Okay, and finally, let's talk about the actual advantage for publishing in November that maybe you haven't considered. So you're entering the holiday buying season, right? Books make a really popular gift, to be honest. And so with the idea of like people buying a book for somebody else, this could increase potential sales for you. Also, you can put it in the year-end best of list. And so especially books that are recently published get lumped into that. So that's a really cool thing. A lot of holiday budgets include like bigger budgets than normal because they're buying these gift purchases. So you could expand your market because you're not just looking at the people who need your book for the content that you're providing, but also people, their friends, their family who know that they need this book, right? So they'll buy the book for them. You can do Black Friday, you can do Cyber Monday deals. Seems really like people are used to that. They're used to seeing things like that. So it's something that you can also essentially jump on the bag when if it's not broke, don't fix it, that kind of a thing. Also, if it's like things to help people be better, do better, that kind of thing. If it's personal development, how-to type books, it's perfect because now at the end of the year, people are reflecting on things and how they've been and how they can do different things. And so now that you're publishing at the end of the year, it's a perfect time for end of the year, grab all this knowledge. That way in 2026, boom, you're out the door and running, because most goals that are actually done in 2026, you start strategizing and planning for them at the end of 2025. So it's the perfect time for them to get your book because it's going to help them. It's going to help that individual get to their goals in 2026. And then here's the thing. Many authors avoid November launches because they don't necessarily want to be around the holiday or they're nervous about that. So I would say use that to your advantage. You have less competition. And so being an independent author, being a self-published author, I think you have a clearer market space in November than many other people would. So I think these are some really key things to understand. I think it's totally possible for you to publish your book in November. Again, if you found this helpful or valuable, let me know in the comments. I want to know. And let's see. I always like to do a wrap up. So let's do a quick wrap up. We talked about a couple of things. Number one, we talked about a realistic timeline that actually works for publishing in November. So that means the next 2 months, June and July, you are going to be banging out that manuscript. Get it done. In months 3, you're going to be heavy into the editing. You're going to start doing some marketing now. In month 4, you're going to still be in editing, but also looking at book cover design. You're going to start to enter into the formatting phase. And then month 5, you're really focused on the pre-launch, right? People doing pre-orders, really revving up the marketing at this point. Now you're heavy into it, right? And then, of course, you want to build 2-week buffers in between each one of those milestones. So that's just to keep you on track, because a lot of times things take longer than they expect, right? In terms of which should you do first, right? So how do you prioritize when everything seems to be a priority? I would say, what's the thing that's going to take you the longest? Right now, it's writing the manuscript. So go ahead and bang that out, or anything else that seems like it's taking you a long time, do that first. Also, some things can't be done unless something else is done first. So figure out what all of those, do it this first so I can do the next thing. That's how you're going to prioritize there. Anything that has a high impact, whether it's low effort or high effort, again, you're going to put the high impact things first. And some people do the thing that's going to give them revenue. So once you get to the editing phase, I think now you can start to really think about, okay, what do I need to do next that's going to impact whether my book gets sold, right? And make those a priority in terms of things to do. And then we talked about shortcuts, very strategic shortcuts that we can use without sacrificing the quality of what we're doing. And so if you have any templates, please go ahead and use them. That's for the book summaries at the end, the bio about the author, any media posts that you have, anything like that you can use a template. Please do that. Save yourself some time. And if there is someone that you can hire to do the things that you're not the best at, or you feel like you're a little bit shaky on, do that. Again, I'm your key, I'm your source there. I can help you with that. And then think about the 80-20 rule. Identify the 20% of efforts that actually create 80% of the perceived quality of your book. And I would say focus on there. And then we just talked about some of the advantages that you may not have considered in terms of a November launch. And number one, the biggest thing is that it's the holiday buying season. That's the biggest advantage. You're going to have an audience that you wouldn't necessarily have, because this audience is thinking about what can they get their brother, sister, friend, mother, lover, and your book might be the perfect gift for them, right? So instead of just targeting the right reader, you now have a wider audience with which to target, because now you're targeting all of their friends and family. Your ideal reader has friends and family who want to get them this book, your book. Okay. And so you can coincide with any Black Friday deals, any Cyber Monday deals, right? You can certainly do that. Also, just think of the time of the year. I mean, it's the end of the year. A lot of people are doing self-analysis. What do I need to do? I have these goals for 2026. And everybody knows that if you want a goal to be done in the following year, so in this case, 2026, you need to start strategizing at the end of 2025. So your book now puts you in line for that person to actually get it done. So this is the perfect time to market to your ideal reader. And the other thing that's really interesting is that most authors don't actually publish around this time. Anyone who hasn't heard my advice will probably stay away from November. But if you don't, guess what? Now you have advantage. Now you have an advantage because you don't have as many people to compete with in terms of the market share. So great news for you. I think there are tons of advantages for publishing in November, and I know that you can do it. So again, if you found this helpful, please let me know in the comments. If there are other topics you want me to cover, please let me know. If you want a little bit more details, if you want more of a taste of what I've got going on, coming up, not this Monday, not next Monday, but the following. So June 16th and 17th, I am holding my free 2-day masterclass. It was so popular last time. We're going to pump it with a little bit more value, but it's the Earn Six Figures by Writing, Publishing, and Marketing Your Book. I'm really excited to bring that to you all. So go ahead and check the description, because that will have the link that you can register. If not, DM me the word book, and I will make sure that you get that link to register that way as well. This has been amazing. Look, I've got new branding, the Janelle Villiers podcast. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that notification bell, all the things. No, honestly and truly, guys, when you do this just tells the algorithm that what I'm doing is valuable, and it will share it with more people. And I appreciate that. And it's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. So please go ahead and do that. And I will see you next Monday. Take care, everyone.